Autumn 1942. In California's remote Mojave Desert, a strange aircraft rolled across Muroc Dry Lake. There was no propeller, only a haunting shriek unlike anything people had heard before. This was the Bell P-59 Airacomet, America's first jet fighter and one of World War II's most secret projects. Built to transform air combat, it promised a new era of speed and power. Yet, despite the hype, the P-59 never fought in a single battle. So what went wrong? To understand the birth of the P-59, we have to look at the frantic global arms race of the late 1930s and early 40s. While the public cheered on roaring piston-engine fighters like the British Spitfire and German Bf-109, visionary engineers behind closed doors knew that propeller-driven aviation was rapidly approaching its physical limits. As propeller blades approached the speed of sound, they lost efficiency, creating a hard aerodynamic ceiling. The future lay in a radical new propulsion system, the gas turbine jet engine. In Great Britain, Frank Whittle was pioneering the turbojet. In Germany, Hans von Ohain was doing the same. By the time the United States entered the war in December 1941, the military brass made a terrifying realization: America was dangerously far behind. Germany had already flown the world's first jet aircraft, the Heinkel H-178, back in 1939. If the Allies didn't catch up, and catch up fast, the Luftwaffe would soon rule the stratosphere with unstoppable propellerless warplanes. Desperate to bridge the gap, General Henry Hap Arnold, chief of the U.S. Air Forces, traveled to Great Britain in 1941. There, he was shown the closely guarded secret of Frank Whittle's jet engine. Arnold was stunned. He immediately negotiated a technology sharing agreement. The British shipped a Whittle W1X engine and its blueprints across the Atlantic in a wooden crate under armed guard. To keep the project under wraps, the military bypassed established aviation giants like Boeing or Douglas. Instead, they tapped General Electric to manufacture the engines, and Bell Aircraft, known for its unorthodox engineering, to design the airframe. The project was codenamed Project MX-14, and its secrecy was extreme. Engineers at Bell's Buffalo, New York facility worked in a sealed-off, windowless room. Only a handful of people in the entire country knew what they were actually building. In fact, the secrecy was so intense that when the prototype was ready to be shipped to California for testing, Bell engineers installed a dummy wooden propeller on the nose of the aircraft. Why? Because if anyone caught a glimpse of the plane on a railroad flat car, they would see the propeller and assume it was just another conventional piston-engined prototype. On October 1, 1942, at Muroc Dry Lake, Bell test pilot Bob Stanley climbed into the cockpit of the XP-59A. With the dummy propeller removed, the aircraft looked like something out of a science fiction novel. It featured mid-mounted wings and two sleek engine nacelles tucked tightly against the fuselage. Stanley spooled up the twin General Electric IA turbojets, released the brakes, and roared down the dry lake bed. The aircraft lifted off effortlessly. America had officially entered the jet age. The military's expectations were high sky. They immediately ordered 139 production models, designated the P-59 Airacomet. Army Air Forces Command envisioned fleets of these whispering giants intercepting German bombers and outmaneuvering Axis fighters over Europe. But as the flight test program progressed, the initial euphoria began to evaporate. The harsh reality of early jet technology was about to set in. The primary culprit was the engine.
The General Electric IA turbojets were painfully underpowered, producing a meager 1,250 pounds of thrust each. Because early jet turbines took a long time to compress air and burn fuel efficiently, the P-59 suffered from atrocious throttle response. If a pilot slammed the throttle forward, the engines didn't roar to life. They hesitated, sometimes choking out entirely. This meant that the P-59 required massive runways just to get airborne, and its acceleration was sluggish at best.
Furthermore, the airframe itself had major aerodynamic flaws. At high speeds, the P-59 suffered from snaking, a severe yaw instability where the tail would sway side to side. This made the aircraft an incredibly unstable gun platform. If a pilot tried to line up an enemy aircraft in his sights, the plane's tail would wag, throwing the guns completely off target. Engineers tried adding a larger vertical stabilizer, but the fundamental aerodynamic issues remained. To truly understand how disappointing the P-59 was, you only have to look at how it performed against the aircraft already in service. The Army decided to pit the P-59 in mock dogfights against standard piston-engine fighters like the P-47 Thunderbolt and the legendary P-51 Mustang. The results were embarrassing. The conventional propeller-driven P-51 Mustang absolutely dominated the new jet. The Mustang was faster, had a much higher rate of climb, was vastly more maneuverable, and possessed 3 times the operational range. The P-59's top speed was barely 404 miles per hour, hardly faster than the planes it was meant to replace, and significantly slower than late-war Mustangs, which could exceed 440 miles per hour. And compared to what the Germans were building, it wasn't even close. While the P-59 was struggling to reach 400 miles per hour, the German Messerschmitt Me-262 was flying at a blistering 540 miles per hour, featuring swept wings and heavy 30mm autocannons. America's revolutionary jet was obsolete before it even entered mass production. By late 1943, the U.S. Army Air Forces faced a critical decision. They had a jet fighter, but sending it to Europe would be a death sentence for American pilots. It couldn't outrun German piston fighters, let alone the German Me-262 jets. As a result, the military slashed the production contract. Instead of the planned 139 aircraft, only 50 production P-59s were ever built. None of them were ever shipped overseas. Instead, the Airacomet was quietly relegated to the sidelines, stripped of its fighter expectations, and designated as a trainer and flight test bed. But this wasn't the end of the P-59 story. In fact, its true mission was just beginning. While the P-59 was a failure as a combat aircraft, it was a spectacular success as a classroom. The Airacomet became the ultimate training ground for America's very first generation of jet pilots and ground crews. It taught the military how to handle the unique maintenance challenges of gas turbines, how to manage jet fuel consumption, and how to develop entirely new tactics for high-speed, propellerless flight. More importantly, the lessons learned from the P-59's failures directly paved the way for its successor, the Lockheed P-80 Shooting Star. By analyzing the aerodynamic flaws and engine limitations of the Airacomet, American engineers were able to design the P-80 into a truly world-class, combat-ready jet fighter before the war ended. Without the P-59 stumbling so that America could learn to walk, the United States would have entered the Cold War years behind in the aviation race. The Bell P-59 Airacomet is often remembered as a footnote of World War II, a secret project that never got its moment of glory on the battlefield. But history shouldn't judge it by its lack of combat victories. The Airacomet was the brave, awkward first step into an entirely new era of human flight. It didn't win the war,
but it quietly built the foundation of the modern United States Air Force. What do you think? If the P-59 had been fitted with better engines, could it have challenged the Me-262? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more untold aviation history. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next flight.